Computer. Lights. Hey guys, and happy Tuesday. I'm going to be working on various things today. I have to get my coffee. See, my coffee has now, or my, I'm going to tilt this back up. Like so. There we go, like that. And we don't have music. Pork. Turn that up. There we go. I'm going to go see if anybody wants to join me today. I'll go out and bork and tap people and see what people are doing and or thinking and or wow, everything's running slow. Oh, see, it says I got so thrown off by everything over here. Oh, well. If anybody wants to join me, they are welcome. Well, good morning, Brent. Yeah, so Restream changed all of the doodly wops, and so I got very, very confused when I tried to log in. So it's still saying that it's Monday and Betty White Day. So we'll just celebrate Betty White for 2 days in a row. Because frankly, Betty White was worth it. You would have joined me yesterday? You mean in show? Yeah, well, you could have painted minis. You did join me yesterday, though. I mean, like, you're here every day. There we go. Okay. So yesterday, I did an attempt to try to do a few things. We've got to do a couple of prep work pieces, trying to get everything, or worked on code working as well. That is art. And boy, is that definitely art. Not like you're limited to art on my show. I don't know why I said that. That seems gatekeepy. Like, you can only work on art in my show. That's weird. Anyway, so here's what we're working on today. So what we've got here is I actually went on ahead and set up a scene to merge background and foreground images to see what we could do here to make this as look like a final product. So here we are with sort of a final product picture kind of going in. And kind of looking at it and figuring out what to do with it. And we're just kind of messing with it here. And I'm pretty happy with where this is going. I mean, we had to do a lot of dinking around with the poses to get them to look natural. But once I did, they look pretty solid. Then I went through and I was practicing line weight, because part of the problem that I'm having here is that There we go. Yeah. Hang on real quick. So I had put out on XP Pen, on the XP Pen Reddit, that that I'm having a problem with pen pressure. Seems to, so they're asking me sometimes have light pressure or heavy pressure. So what I'm saying is, wide. So the problem I'm having here, and I'll actually kind of put this up on here to kind of give an example of what's going on. So we've got this here. The problem I'm working on with my pen is when I work on this. Oh, well, that won't help us any. So let's go ahead and set for technical, right? Looking at this, we have what looks like. So the problem that I've got is the more I press, the wider it gets, and the less that it goes. You see how it tapers off in this area right back here? The problem I've got is that it seems to be big and then all of a sudden really small. So kind of like that. And so this is 100% pressure. And this is like right here is 50% pressure. And then, right here is 25% pressure. And then right here is 0% pressure. And what I'm trying to figure out is why I'm not getting any kind of variation there in that section. Like the G pen should taper off like that, but you see this same thing happens right there, right? If I light, heavy, and then light again, I shouldn't be getting these steps. So it's stepping down. So what I'm trying to figure out is what's going on with my pen. It's making it very hard for me to be doing lines in here on characters because I can't just get control over the pen, light control over the pen. So I put it out on Reddit. It seems to hold in places. Setting the pen for width like a G pen. It has plateaus where it steps down in size and width. I'm looking for a way to set it so it's consistent. There we go. There we go. Sorry for doing this. I'm just typing into Reddit while while doing this so that we can discuss it with the guys on Reddit who know what we're kind of talking about here. So there we go. That works. So, okay, back to our show. Right. It should be a gradual change. It shouldn't be, you know, I shouldn't be getting these steps. It's definitely looking like a rocket. Like it looks like a Saturn V. He's like straight, then step, then straight, then step. And I don't know why I'm getting that gradual fall off. Although the G pin is responding better than, say, anybody else. Right? It's just difficult. Anyway, back to this guy. So this, I've got set for that, but I could set it for like 50, and it might be better at 50. So, all right. So this was a design mix for getting kind of these two things together. Getting the 3D backgrounds that we've been working on. And you'll recognize our posting sign that says, "Warning! Don't do whatever it is you were going to do because you were doing something. We know, we were watching." Right? I'm going to just give a little bit more shadow here so that these guys can kind of pop out a little bit more. So that's pretty much what we're doing here. Just giving a little bit more kind of shading going on here. There. So this is where a rim light is useful. When you're doing lighting like this, we kind of want something to see how her hair just kind of vanishes off to the distance there. So this is where putting a rim light in is extremely helpful. Right? And we'll just put this G pin in and we'll go 12. Right? And we just define the edge over here. Right? Like so. And this is called a rim light in the, if we were actually doing real lighting here, it'd be a light behind her, just slightly behind her, and over here hitting this part of her face. That's what we really want, is this plane of her face right here. Right, this cheek. And it's not going to be white ultimately. We're going to fix it so it's not white in a second. But this will help us sort of define the things that are wandering off into the distance over here. Like, like this arm is sort of disappearing into the background. And so is like her uniform here is disappearing into the background and just fading out. So we're going to put this rim light in right here, like so. And that'll help define the back of this. And then her back and stuff like that will go across this rim light. And I'm just giving some feel to it just so that it's not just a straight. Yep. And then we'll put this rim light right back here. And I don't mind, and I'm not worried if I go over a little bit here, because if I go over, I'm just going to trim out at later on. So it's all right at this point in time. So I'm going to put this rim on her ear, because if you remember, one of the little attributes of our dear beloved captain is that her ears stick out. She has sticky outy ears. I don't know. Actually, I haven't heard from Kevin in a couple of days, so I'm not 100% sure whether he got his printer up and running yet. But we did actually go on ahead and buy that set that we were talking about. So we'll have to see. So if we do overlay, it's too light. So I'm going to do screen and bring it back just a little bit here. Well, I don't know. Actually, 100% in on the screen actually does kind of look cool. Maybe just a little too hot. So let's do a 50% screen and see what happens. Yeah, we do. I don't know if you've ever seen the rule with Kevin, though. It's a funny rule, but there's a rule specifically with Kevin. Let's see here. We're going to do a tone curve because we need to change its color. So I'm going to drop its red. So the rule, so we started Geek Tank 6 years ago. And in 2000, well, gosh, no, it's been longer than that, 8 years ago. Right? Because it was 2014 when we started it. Right? So that we're on our 8th year. And when we started, Kevin said, I want to help. And we're, oh, cool. What do you want to do? And he's like, well, anything except be in front of the camera. I'll run cameras. I will run switcher boards. I'll hit record. It doesn't matter, but I'm not going to be in front of the camera. And so we said, that's fine. We don't have a problem with that. And then it became a shtick. So it was funnier because one of the things we did with the shtick was that, come on, what am I thinking here? I gotta think this out because it wasn't tone curve. It's level correction. Yeah, it's level correction. Okay. So, it became a shtick that what occurred was, wow, I don't know if I can do any kind of change on this. We'll have to see. Anytime Kevin is on screen, he has to be obscured in some funny way. So, and it has nothing, I mean, it means it's not anything other than we specifically, he specifically asked to not be on screen, which was fine. But it was a humorous gag that, like I had a picture of the three of us that somebody had printed out. And so I posted it to social media and intentionally put my thumb over his face as if it was an accident that I put my thumb over his face. Stuff like that. I mean, it's been like the gag. And if you ever hear him on there, he can't be, he has to be muddled. So it's just been sort of an ongoing running gag with Geek Tank. It started because Troy is a big Penn and Teller fan. And on screen, Teller never speaks. In real life, he talks all the time. But on screen, he never speaks. It's the gag. It's the joke, is that Teller doesn't speak. That's part of the deal, if you will. So that's all. It's just one of those funny gags about. Okay, that's what I want. There we go. That's what we were after. We want this to be blue. Like a blue-green light. I really want it to be kind of purple. There we go. That looks kind of cool, actually. But I don't know if it'd be that purple. We'll snag it real quick. That way I can keep going kind of along here. So anyway, the only reason I was saying that was because he still doesn't like being on screen. And so you'd never really get him on here. But the running gag, of course, is that he's our teller. And that, you know, there we go. I'm just going to put this in here, and I'm kind of putting it on her nose a little there. Put it right through here. I'll go back across the back here so we can get Chang's hair, because now that's really what we brought this light in for, was this, right? And it's okay if we kind of go across here like so. There we go, like so. And we want to kind of go across the top here like so. And we go back to screen. Right, because that makes everything light up. And actually overlay, no, screen. I wonder if I can do glow dodge. Glow dodge. Doesn't do anything for the hair, though. Lighten. So here's where I'm having a problem. Truth of the matter is I can fix this by going here with it, right? Because the lines aren't showing up. So if I were to do glow dodge here, it would still work in that instance. Or lighten, which doesn't work like I want it to, or linear burn, which just turns it black. Color burn should go the other direction, but it doesn't. Add. Ooh, add glow. Add glow. Right? Which might be what we want. I mean, I know that people like color dodge for this kind of stuff. But the problem is in the dark hair, it's not working. So I like add glow. I think add glow is what we want. come down here, like so. Let's go across there. It should give us a little bit of that. Right. Just give a little bit of backlighting to these guys so that they exist some. I don't know. I feel like that should be more. We'll mess with it. But first, let's trim it down. And deselect. There we go. So, okay. Problem we've got with our add glow now is that we really are having a hard time seeing it. So we're going to go through here in tonal correction. Right, that's what I'm looking for. More saturation. It's definitely blue. And bring it up like so. There. Only thing I've got is there is that's highlights. There's this glow, which in some areas, right here, this glow, which is in some areas kind of not working for me. Right. I think I want to, first of all, I think that no matter what, this part of her body is not glowing. So there we glow. All right. Anyway, so this is sort of a solid test of the elements that we've seen already that I've built. This is that console that we built a while back. Just a generic wall. This is that plant-on that we were talking about. And here's our two-piece chair, right? All of it looks pretty solid. Everything looks pretty good in here. It looks like a thing. The only thing I'm concerned about is I feel like this console might be a little big. Like it's really huge. And I feel like just looking at where her hands are set on the keyboard, she's going to have to beep, 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 beep. And it will be hard for her to do two fingers at the same time because this keyboard is a 10-key keyboard. So you push different combinations to get different letters. Right? And that's how this works. So that it's more like a stenographer's keyboard than it is anything else. So my feeling is when we're looking at this I've already closed it. I feel like we may need to bring this guy down practically just a little bit. Because she also, I mean, gosh, she's going to have a hard time reaching these buttons up here. I mean, really. Going to be like pushing the buttons way up there. It's going to be really difficult. I also feel like the chair might be slightly large. The problem is I don't want to do that adjustment until I put men in here. And the reason I say that is because men are bigger and massiver and have longer reaches. So I want to make sure it's the average between the two, not designed for the women or designed for the men, but rather designed right in the middle so that the men are short reaching and the women are slightly long reaching, and that way it fits. It's not a problem for the alien races necessarily because the alien races are going to not have a major issue with it per se. So it's not going to be a problem. So okay. Now, the question that I've got next is, in comic parlance, we would do something like this. Take this guy here, Control-Shift-I, and we would say outline selection, right? So give ourselves a, I went the wrong direction. Try it again. First of all, we'll do this. Second of all, we'll say outline selection, draw on the outside. That's probably too much. I wish that I could do this dynamically. It works dynamically in Photoshop, but it doesn't here. Let's give it like a 5, right? Yeah. Right. So in comic book world, they'd give it, manga especially, would give it a bump, a white line around the characters to just make sure you can delineate from the foreground to the background. And I don't know if I like that, but I'll tell you what we're going to do about this, because I think we will keep this in here when we do the next step. So first things first, let's save. Okay, so the next step on this is to look at this in grayscales and halftones, because this is all tests, right? So I think with color, you don't want that. So we'll save as, just so we've got it. Well, let's not save it yet. Let's give it its border. So this is white outline. And I'll show you where we're headed on this one in a second, okay? We're not there yet. We're not there yet. Okay. So let's go ahead and new raster layer. Border. Okay. So this is going to be, right, we're going to do this. And we're going to say outline selection, draw inside. All right. And this is typical of just a standard. We'll do our little thing here where we add a border of varying thicknesses. Because this actually makes it look more like something that goes with the style. I like the sparkles on the wall behind there. That's nice. I'm not going to get into that. Okay. Let me say delete. There we go. There we go, just like that. And then maybe we will just tap the inside of this and give it a slightly gold outline. Right? Just enough that we can see it. And then we'll just add. And this way, we just have sort of a little standard border. Now we can save this as an art. Dang it, I can't see it there. Okay. We'll head out to the location. Bellatrix Rising. Illustrations. And we'll save this as a JPEG. There we go. And now we'll do all of the magic we were just talking about. So we're going to turn this off. We're going to turn everything off. We're going to say Control-Shift-E, and that merges everything that's not on at this moment. So everything that's been turned off now gets stuck in one layer, and all of it's sort of baked at this point, right? So if there are any issues or problems, we're too late now, right? Because like I'm feeling like that poor Mayrell's nose sort of casts a shadow, but her mouth doesn't. That's okay. Because now we're going to turn on. We messed it up. We didn't want to do that. We want the white outline on first. There we go. And now we'll Control-Shift-E. Oh, that's that break area. So now we'll do the Control-Shift-E, right? And then we take this and we say Tonal Correction. And then we go to this and we take out its saturation. So now we've dropped it into black and white, right? And then up here, there's this button right here which says Tone. And I can tap that button and we can tone this layer. And now the layer is actually in Zipatone. Which, by the way, that's one of the marvelous things about. And I feel like it says it's at 60 LPI, and I really think that it should be more like it's at 30. Because I think we're at half the resolution of normal, where I'm normally at 60 DPI. But this gives us the dots that are here now, and they're kind of clear on that one. Here's the one thing I'm not liking about this. So we're going to undo all of this. And we're going to take the overlay that's the black lines, not this one, ink, and we're going to duplicate this layer. And I'm going to turn it off. Okay, now I'm going to take the rest of these guys. Control-Shift-E. Right, and I'm going to take that and put him on top so that he's still there, right? So the black ink lines are still going to be on top so that I can do this and then drop this to 30. And that means that the ink retains. See how the ink is staying? So the inking lines hold. And that looks better. I'm actually kind of wondering if I can drop this to 15. Right? We're getting Morier, and I understand that, but trust me when I say it looks wonderful when printed, right? So maybe 20. I think 20 looks good right here. Like it looks solid. No, that won't work. Okay. So I'm going to turn off this real quick because I feel like it's too dark now, maybe. I don't think that's what I want. I think I want brightness and contrast. I'm going to take a look at this, the brightness. And still keep the contrast, right? But make it brighter. What I'm after here is when we switch to this, see how it's much lighter now? There we go. I kind of like that one better. It's hard for you guys to see because I'm seeing already a Morier on it. So let me see if I can't zoom in so you don't get the Morier pattern. Because you're getting the Morier pattern no matter what we do. So that the clumping of dots is because the dots correspond with pixels on our screen. And they don't actually do that on paper. When we print it out, it won't look anything like that. It's just that monitors have to make a choice in this instance as to whether they're presenting a black dot, a gray dot, or a white dot. And so it'll approximate when you have 2 pixels on either side and you have a black dot that has wandered in between. It approximates what value it should put those in. It keeps clumping groups of dots together. Because the truth is we get really close here, the dots look fine. You know, you don't see that Morier pattern until we get out to about here with you guys. And then you start seeing the Morier pattern. And I don't actually see it on my monitor here yet. But once I get to about, I guess right about here, that's where I really start seeing Morier patterns on it. So it's one of those, you'll have to have faith that it's working the right way. What we really should do is copy the layer, take this layer, and then instead of putting it in black and white, just make this one just be completely dark or completely light. So let's do tonal correction and just desaturate it, right? Because this looks fine. Right? I don't know what VOI FYI means. Major Sammy. Hello, Major Sammy. Welcome to the show. I don't know what VOI is, though. But it's okay. That's okay. Sometimes we don't know what things are, and that's also all right. Anyway, so knowing that this is sort of what we're looking at here, I'm feeling like we're doing pretty solid. The colors here look fine. I'm kind of liking the way that it looks. The only problem I have is the shadow on Mayrell's face, which I'm not ecstatic about. And I'm actually so not ecstatic about it that I actually think I'm going to do something about it. So we're going to go in here and I'm actually going to adjust it. So need to use my skin brush for this. I've got this skin brush and I'm just going to kind of go around here like so. We're just going to kind of do this. We're going to come around the dark side of her lips. Ooh, let's not do that ever again. We're going to need to do something about it. Because that's more like what we need right through here is this. There we go, just like so. A little under her nose there. There. And see how that just looks better? The light should be hitting straight across her face. So it looks just fine. The only problem I've got is that her lips should be darker on the lee side of that. There we go. There, like so. Just give her a little bit of shape to that lip there and that sort of that structure going on, which is great. But I didn't do it to the original. I did it 3 steps down. So we just get to suffer with the fact that the original color version is going to have to be fixed as well, which we can do. It didn't take long. It wasn't like that was a difficult process. So we'll take this guy here. We'll duplicate him. And this layer will be desaturated to black and white. Looks a whole lot better. And then this layer will go on ahead and tone at 20 so that it's toned so that you can see what it looks like in there we go. So as you can kind of see, one of the things, so this is sort of a culmination of, did we get all the pieces together? We've been looking for pieces. We've been putting pieces together. We've been working on kind of getting all these pieces into one unit so that they all worked properly. And this was the test of that. Did it work? And what I see here are, let's test all of our things. For one, does the background here look good? Solid, kind of look like it was hand drawn? I think it does. Even the chair kind of looks like it was hand drawn back here. So, well, that's the idea, is we can't go to pages until I'm done with all of this. Like we did pages earlier. There's a fruit fly in here. We did pages earlier and we made some mistakes that we didn't anticipate. So, for example, those pages all take place in Chang's quarters, and her quarters are really neat. I wouldn't expect Chang's quarters to be neat, right? They're also probably solid. like by themselves pictures, so they probably should at least have the first 4 pages in color instead of being in black and white because they're by themselves. So we broke a few rules doing them. So I'm not sure whether I want to just redo the pages or just leave them like they are. I'm probably just going to leave them like they are and kind of call it a little weird, but out there. That's part of what we've got to question at this point in time. So we can start pages though, and we could probably go back and redo those pages with little or no real problem. They didn't take long. I mean, I believe, if I remember correctly, we inked those pages in a day or two of shows. So 4 hours. We got 4 pages in. That's only a 5-page short. So I sort of believe that we could probably redo it. But, I mean, we have to also think of other things like what uniform is Jen wearing? Is she a specialist? She's probably a specialist, not a line officer. What is the position of AI? That's actually a good question. What do you think, Brent? If you've got 3 kinds of people, you have pretty much effectively command, operations, and mission specialist, right? So that's effectively what we've got. I guess AIs would be operations then, because they wouldn't be a specialist. They'd be operations. So she'd be in purple, the dark purple, which would make sense. So anyway, yeah, we're looking good here. We're looking good. Looking solid, and I feel like, yeah, that's what well, yes. Their job is to run the ship. So and that's their job. So I actually am kind of digging this in black and white. I mean, it looks nice and solid in black and white. What do we think? I mean, I like the picture as it is in black and white. I mean, in color, it's cool, but in black and white, it's pretty awesome. Okay, let's make some fixes here. So the first thing we're going to do here is we're going to Control Shift E, temporarily flatten this, save as. Oh, wait. Not save as yet. Answer. One ping only for Shinny. Okay. And image resolution. Let's make this 1000. And the reason I make it 1000 is that's a good size for posting. It's not big enough that people can. So, all of you artists who watch this show, let me give you a little insight on copyright and things like that. There are no police officers to defend copyright. Copyright's defended in courts. And the only real way for you to defend your artwork in court is to prove that you did it originally. So, one of the things that you can do is you can always drop the resolution of your artwork down before you post it, and then keep a high resolution version for yourself that no one ever sees. And this is something that I do a lot. That way, if I see my artwork show up elsewhere on the interwebs, I can challenge it, and even if it's just the court of public opinion, even if it's just everybody else who's in that thread, I can prove that I have a higher resolution version than they can ever prove. So they can't ever put a higher resolution than what I've got out. So if you are an artist, my high recommendation is always put out a lower resolution version than what you've got as a master, and never put out your masters online. Sorry. The other thing is, make sure you sign stuff. So we're going to do that too. The next thing we're going to do is go over here to administration. Guy the artist, administration, and grab my Honko stamps. Right, we'll take this guy right here, and we'll copy him, and we'll paste him in. And we will take, and what we do here is tonal correction, and we reverse gradient is the term that they use for this that I don't know. I just work here. Overlay, right? Actually, I think it's screen that I want. Screen. And then we have this ghost burn here, right? It's kind of funny. Let me take this guy. He's stuck. What's going on here? Suddenly, we're not giving me my resize handles. Is that because they're here? That's because they're there. Bork. There we go. Like, where are my resize handles? Okay. The other thing we have to do when we do this is that we have to take the luminosity and bring it up. No, we don't. Not that. It's, in this instance, it is B and C. Turn up the brightness all the way. Turn up the contrast all the way. Right? And then we go through here and we say hue sat. And we drop it sat. There we go. Kind of hard to read, but it works. Doesn't need to be perfect. It just needs to be there. All right. Now we can save this as the B&W version. B and W. And this will be the version that I release out on the web. And the color version just exists. But I may also decide at this point in time to take this and put it on r/imaginary slice of life. Oh my goodness, to see what the response is out there as well. And it's mostly because I need to start doing things to extend its reach. Because we're not extending its reach. I'm not showing up anywhere. It's not showing up anywhere. And that's a thing. I know that a lot of the thought processes that I've heard is, well, maybe the artwork's not good. Maybe maybe the yada, 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 whatever. And it really boils down to somebody likes every bit of art. Even the weirdest art out there is beloved by somebody. So you should never assume that your artwork is not good enough or not pretty enough or whatever, because that's ridiculous. You like my art, see? So that's one of those things. And though I'm actually not worried, I know that I'm really kind of talking more towards the artists who suffer from imposter syndrome. I mean, that's what a lot of artists suffer from. And I understand that. I hear that. So, anyway, that's what we're going to do. The next thing we're going to do is check the sizes of things because I'm starting to kind of feel like this console was too large. So let's load up good old Daz and take a look at stuff. I'm waiting for Daz to load, as we oft do. All right. Go into the content library. I'm going to Bellatrix Furniture. We don't actually have. Let's go ahead and bring the crash couch in. We've got to fix some of the crash couch things anyway. It's going to the wrong spot because it's now way off into Somewheresville. We've got to fix some of the things on crash couch. So we're going to do this. Anyway, interiors, interior textures, right? We'll hit crash couch in the color, right? And then it says, oh no, we couldn't find the thing. Yes, you could. Goobers. Right. There we go. So our crash couch now, you can see kind of here we have it in blue in its color mode. The first thing I really want to do is sort of save this as a color version. But the next thing we want to do is we want to take our leads here, right? We've got a lead. I think Mayrell's probably the most average sized woman that we've got. So we're going to bring in Mayrell into this and take a look at the crash couch versus her. Because one of the things I'm noticing is it doesn't look like it's horribly bad, but I'm kind of wondering whether it's the right size. Okay, so we will take, and let's go ahead and go into Genesis 2. Actually, let's not do that. Let's go over here because we need to pull in a raw, because we don't actually have the males aren't done yet with their uniforms. So we'll put in just a generic Genesis 2 male figure and look at that versus, because Mayrell is markedly shorter than just a normal Joe Blow male, right? And in fact, it looks like, if nothing else, the crash couch might be a little short for a man. Let's go in here and just do a pose. Let's grab a sitting pose. Any pose is good. Right. We'll put them both in the same pose so that no matter what, we can make sure that everything is good and solid. So put her feet on the ground. First of all, it looks like one of the pocket's not straight. All right, putting her feet on the ground, it looks like her butt's not quite where it should be. Looks like we need to be actually here-ish. Right? We were watching, so my wife and I are on a great Star Trek rewatch. We've been watching TNG from episode 1 all the way through first season in its entirety, good or bad. and we reached too short a season, and then we went through When the Bow Breaks, and now last night's episode was I just lost the name, starts with a C. It's the one where Wes tries to get into Starfleet Academy. And it was the first time that Riker did the Riker maneuver to get over a chair and did the leg over to sit down. And we were all like, it's the Riker maneuver. We were all excited. My wife and I were like, yay, the Riker maneuver. Okay. So what I was saying before is half the distance, right? What I'm actually looking at here is it looks like the chair actually is larger than I want it to be, because I kind of want it to be up against their back here, right? So we're going to take this crash couch here, and we actually need to bring it down in size until it fits better. Because it should be like right here. Now, to be fair, these guys are leaning forward, right? And they are kind of Riker maneuvering. In fact, let's try something a little bit more, not dainty per se, but better. In fact, I kind of like that better because it's the prim and proper way to sit in a chair. Like I keep telling my child, issues. See you in 5 or 10. All right. There we go. Because what I'm feeling like here is that we need more of a Y scale like this. Because that actually is probably what we really want in a chair. Right? If we just look at just the dude, I don't understand why whenever you turn off Mirel, all of her hair has to stay. I mean, because because that looks, she still looks relatively, maybe not totally comfortable in that chair, but I don't know. It feels like the sitting postures here are sitting in chairs weird anyway. Like she should have her butt further down. There. Good leap. There we go. So that's probably a better version of this crash couch. Slightly narrower, thinner, and more accurate. Okay. So let's also go back up here and go into the furniture and bring up this console because we've got the same problem. Let's bring the console around. And now, actually, I really am seeing sort of a size problem with this. So left view. Now I'm kind of doing the same problem, which is because you can see the keyboard there is huge. That's a huge keyboard. So maybe on top of the Y scale, I'm going to do a Z scale adjust. Maybe even an X scale. Bring it down to something a little bit more reasonable. You got to be careful of her knees, obviously. It's uncomfortable to sit with your knees in a console. But we should be able to put her hands on there and come up with a reasonable concept. There we go. The last thing I really kind of want to do is have to redraw the keyboards. But I do think, and I feel this way, we're going to have to do something about can't seem to get that control that I want. That's all right. Right, we're looking at kind of where do things fall on this? I know you're like, Brent, you're saying things like, but when do we start pages? Well, if I can't get her to put her hands properly on the keyboards, then it won't help us to have pages. So that's probably not bad. Right? I mean, like, looks like she can get close enough to type. But remember, these 5 keys, this 10 key keyboard that we've got is about combinations of keys. So it's important that she hit all of the keys properly at the same time. So I feel kind of like what we need to do is maybe actually go through and redraw this a slight amount. I'm thinking this keyboard needs to be redone slightly. So we will rotate this till it's straight up like so. And actually, you know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to go on ahead and undo all of these until they're 100 and 100. And then let's fix it properly. It's like one lone. I'm just going to go on ahead and adjust it until it's we need to be from the top view straight. So, like so. There. Left view. Bring it up so it's touching our hand. And then we'll go ahead and hit that perspective where we were at the top view, but we're looking kind of at it this way because this is a 1-to-1 ratio. So we're looking at this kind of 1-to-1. So I'm looking at, it's impossible for her to hit all of these buttons at 550. So we're going to make this 550. And that's the percentage of scale that this guy's got to be at. And that's what we're going to call it. So we're going to go over here to this, and we're going to go ahead and we're going to open. And trust me when I say things will get better from here. Don't worry about it. Console 1.1. Right. And we can see we've got our keys for our keypad here. Let's go on ahead and just take a screenshot of this. Make sure it's lined up. And this is where we'll hit Control Shift S, and it's not Control, it's Windows Shift S. And then we just want just her hand on this. That's it. Right? So we'll go in here and we'll hit paste. And what we ended up with is a picture of effectively this, right? So if we look at this and we hit multiply, we can kind of see where we are on this guy. Almost the same size. It's kind of amazing. So we line this up like so that it matches the control panel. And it just needs to be rough. It doesn't need to be perfect, right? And hit OK. And we'll go in here and we look at her hand and where her hand is positioned, right? So if we just kind of, and I'm doing this kind of in a sort of a, maybe not that. I'll go here. I'm just going to take a look at where I want her fingers to be, right? And these are the pads that I want touching things. And we could probably go out a little like that, but I still want that pad there, right? One of the aspects of believability here is that we make this look and feel right so that whenever the maquettes are beep, 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 beep on the controls, the control buttons aren't here and they're going beep, 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 you know, beep, 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 and the controls are out here. You don't want that because that looks funky and weird and like you've really messed something up. So I'll duplicate the layer and we will transform, we'll flip horizontal. We'll put her other hand over here so that the pads are together. And this just gives us our handprint position. Now, we can go into the console, and all we're going to do is just move crap around until it all fits right. Right. If you fit for the smallest hands in here, well, that's stupid. Means these guys are going to be right on top of each other. Which, that's okay. I'll clean it up in a second. They're all going to be on top of each other. In fact, they're all going to be so on top of each other, I'm starting to think that maybe I don't want to mess with it. So let's go for taking this and the polygon and make it a 6-sided polygon. We want the lines to be that. And go for 4. Right? Right. There. So taking out our me. Where's the other hand? Here. There you are. Right. That's what we really want is a keyboard. And in fact, that's so, I don't know. That's so whatever. That one I want to kind of just move it to here because it looks better. And then this guy can move to here because it looks a little bit better. And this guy can move just a little bit there. Maybe out like so. Welcome back. That puts it so certainly you can put your fingers on the actual keys at the point in time. So now she can actually do what she's supposed to do. So nope, that's not what I want. One of the things that I was discovering was that really the keyboards don't match. And now they match. Right? So now the keyboards are correct. A lot of work to go into these things. And the question is, should we have on a standard keyboard, if this is the standard keyboard for a computer, which I think it is, I'm going to go back in real quick and fix the computer base.
Finding some base recipes. Okay, for base, I recommend sea bass a la Fiorentina from Food Network.
Oh, sea bass. No. Computer, stop. I know.
Okay, I've stopped the stream.
Thanks. Not sure what that means, but okay. Just like the fact that we were, sea bass and stuff. That's funny in my book. So all right. So this is the base console that we had before. We were talking about base consoles and things like that. This is the base console for the PCs on board. The benefits outweigh the drawbacks. The benefits outweigh the drawbacks. I'm just saying, that's all I'm saying. I didn't mean to freak you out. I guess I meant to freak you out. We are waiting now. There we go. And this guy doesn't need to be saved either. All right. And this guy we will save because we actually save it as what? The thing. Okay. And we will also save this as the thing. Oh God. Do you want to replace the thing? Yes, I wish to replace the thing. We'll never be able to tell whether that worked or not. Let's try something here. We're going to open. I'm going to take the color version of this console. Right? And we're going to try something on this. We're going to take this all, copy, and paste it in. I'm going to take this guy and just put it on top and then say multiply. And gives me a little bit of what's going on here. Then maybe I can just kind of fudge, right? So let's go through here. We'll take you and we'll just fudge you. I'm going to go through here and do this. It's too tight in here. I think it is too, but I don't know what it's. I don't even know what it's. Thank you for reporting it, but I don't know what it's trying to say. Like, I don't understand what it's after. It's kind of funny. I'm like, I get that it's spamming, but it's like it's not going anywhere. It's like, okay, but that's not a website. I mean, I get that, but vor.ong is not a website, especially with a space. So I'm like, I don't get it. I don't. You know what? I always feel kind of like, in general, I miss stuff. Like, I don't get what people are saying, and I feel like in general that kind of happens. And I guess it's fine. I don't know. Feel kind of like my grandmother. My grandmother used to do that too. Okay, but I mean, that's a lot of effort to get me to click on a spam link that clearly is spam. That's what I mean. I'm like, but I guess I have said this before. I think you and I have even talked about this, that if they get one person to do it, then it's worth it for them because they get one sucker. And all they need is one sucker to go, I wonder what this thing does. You know? So, maybe we've discussed this. I know we've discussed this. There we go. I'm going to do that. Okay. That's also a very valid point. Solid point. If they're trying to just see if it'll work. Oh, let's see if this works. There we go. So we're going to make this my new color group 1. Fine. Save as color group B. God. That's so funny. Okay, bring this in. Let's just then hit this on the color group B. There we go. There. Her hand fits over all of the keys on that side. Looks fine. That looks like something somebody might do. She looks like she's also rolling her eyes up and going, oh, I hate you people. Where's her eye target? God. Yeah, no wonder she's having a problem. I'd have a problem too. All right, there we go. Why do I have to put up with you people all the time? There we go. So the console looks good. I like the red trim. Actually kind of looks nice on the console there. Okay, so I think this console right. Good. I reconfigured it. It fits now. Everything fits. I'm good now. I don't have to. I hate you people. All you people who keep making me change keyboards. Ah. All right. keyboard looks solid. We got all these extra controls over here, which kind of look cool. I like that. We're going to do a number of these consoles because then we can repurpose the console without having to rebuild a new console. And then this can be the radio room. We have the radio room as a set that needs to be used in the first script. So that's one of our Brent list items. So we can make that radio room relatively soon and just have it done and then not have to worry about it. All we got to do is just bring in the room from the map. Is it even on the map? Is it on the deck plans? Have you looked at your deck plans recently, guy? These are all the things that I always wonder with myself. Here are the deck plans. Yep, it's on the deck plans. So we look on the deck plans and we can see, we can see forward on the forward section up here, we're dealing with this room right here, this radio room right here. You're not even bothering. There we are. You're just being obnoxious. Yep. So we're really talking about right here. Boy, there we go. Right there. We're going to have to do the pilot house and the radio room. But if I can do fewer and fewer set pieces that require special controls, special builds, the better. So I think I'm going to do a different crash couch, like a special crash couch for that, which is the level up from this crash couch, because the idea is that the pilot should be able to withstand a lot more than the standard, crew members. If anything horrible happens to the ship's gravity or whatever, the pilot should live and the captain should live long enough to control the vehicle and get it out of whatever, trouble it's in. So I'm going to make a more robust crash couch, which has more of a lean back in it, going for that. And that will be the next thing we will build, but it'll still be just a separate piece of furniture. And then I think I'm just going to use consoles that we've already built to try to get kind of the pilot house consoles in. So this can be used as a left side console that sits to her left in the pilot house. And we'll just do a different set of controls for this, so that this is just like her left side console. So she can just reach over and beep, 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 and kind of do that kind of thing to get kind of that going. And I'll just make a different console for this and just a different map on the top, and it'll still be the same model, which will work. And that'll be good. So the one thing I did want to do was this. On the back of these consoles, we need to make sure that we have it written, which is right here. We're going to take the white and the pin. We're going to go here and say pin, G pin, white. What's going on here, folks? This end up? No, apparently I'm having problems drawing. We're on white. We're on a pin. We're on G pin. We've deselected everything, correct? Oh, it's because it needs to be on top of this guy. Hi. We got some. What's going on? What is your problem? Okay, you know what? New layer. Standard. There. And that's just going to say that on the back. So that way I don't have to worry about it anymore. Right, that's just going to be on the back of the console. That way I don't have to forget or don't have to remember, because that's gonna be here on this part. So nobody's gonna see it except me when I install it into a scene. We know that 550% is the correct size parameter over here. Looking at this, it's the correct parameter. You can't see it because it's under me, under my picture. But there, that's the parameter that I want to hold, so that it'll be standard 550%. So that when I put it into a scene, how big should I make it? I don't have to go and think it through. Looks good. I'm liking the way this looks. Looks like we could actually probably hold 2 people at this console if we were to put another chair in here. Right? So if we were to take, first of all, we should take and save these things, because we've got a bunch of bits and pieces. Yeah, you will know too. You can tell me, how big is this supposed to be? And you'd be like, 550%. How many times do I have to tell you? And I'd be like, I don't know. So anything could happen. Let's go ahead and first let's save this console, save subset, and we've got it under the Bellatrix furniture. So we're going to call this the standard console and just save it as. And it says it already exists, so yes, we're going to repeat it. And what we're going to do is just save just the console type 1. So accept, and that changes that to that. And there, one other thing I want to kind of do, which we can do here. No, that's the, oh, it is up above. It's up in the air. Crap. Okay. You know what I think I'm going to do is this. Create new primitive. We're just going to create a cube. And its size is going to be 0.25 meters. Right? I'm just going to take this cube and put it right here. And then we're going to extend that out and shrink this. It won't matter. And shrink this down. It won't matter. We're just going to make this black and black. And just make it black, 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 black. Okay. And then perspective view. We won't put that there, but we'll put this on the console type 1 and just make it a thing that's part of the console. It's kind of frustrating because wasn't really wanting to have that kind of thing on the bottom, but I mean, realistically, she won't be able to put her legs under there otherwise. I don't know. Let's take a look. And we could probably, well, I don't know. Let's see. What happens when I do put this on the ground? Like so. And it puts it past her knees, though. So it'll have to be here. At the very least. It's not bad. And her knees are pressed into the control console a little bit, but probably do that and be fine. We're doing ergonomics here, folks. Let's see if ergonomically she can still reach the keyboards. Probably not as easily. You want her to be comfortable at this console. And I think, actually, if her arms are straight, we should be fine. Which I think is actually what needs to happen here. Straighten out her arms. Just make sure they're all straight. And I feel like we can get pretty good on this. There we go. The biggest thing I notice, though, about when I'm dealing with, like, say, Star Trek, I'm noticing that their computers are not you. Never mind. Their consoles. As much as I love Okudagrams, each one of the buttons is A, unmarked, and B, has a special job. Every button has a specific job. And so you can't, it's like, Mr. Data, I want you to look up ABCD. And Data goes over and goes, and you're like, what is he pushing? What buttons are he pushing? I mean, does he know? I mean, Data probably does. But I mean, how do you look up, planet Bertley-Wop? It's going to invariably be some very strange thing. I mean, you have to figure that. Yeah, I can get her hands in here. Okay, good. So this is probably still okay as far as a console goes. She looks effective. She looks like she's doing the right thing. Her body posture is correct, even though we're going to have to fix that pocket, which is screwed up, but that's okay. It still works. So this is probably okay. So we will then say console type 1. We'll save as scene subset, standard console. Yes. In fact, it does already exist. Isn't that amazing? Accept. Now we've got this guy. And what I wanted to try was this one. Let's see what happens. If I take this, put it here, like so, and then on the Y scale, flip it minus 100%, right? Then put them right like this, clack, right? And now we have a double console, which I can now do something at. And interestingly, it has a little window, right? Which if I were to take the plant on, will fit nicely in that window. Not at 500%, of course. Looks like I meant to do it. And now we have the first part of the radio room ready to go. Now, I am, of course, completely flying blind and really should never have done this in the first place, but that's okay. Go in here. And okay. Go in here to the maps directory. And no, we're not bringing up star maps. Although we should put a star map on these because that makes some sense. Somewhere the deck plans have gone off to Never Never Land. Maybe I just call it ships. In design? Yeah, put it in design. Because I'll never find it there. I feel like we're back a level here. That's not the right one. That's not that guy. How recent is this? Well, now I've just confused myself pretty seriously. Because there was a deck plan, I remember there was a deck plan that had operational tanks back here and stuff like that on the bridge. So this isn't the right one. Which kind of has me worried a little bit. Here we are in Macross. That's not what we're looking for. Go in here, go to Bellatrix, ships, ship design. This is the only one in here. Ships. Ship sets? No. Textures? No. Maybe aging. Maybe I just blocked the wrong one. Now these look like... These are textures for the old Corvette model that we had. Well, we've been working long enough now on these things. Illustrations? No. Oh, I could use the star navigating in space stuff for when we do get to the point where we're building a navigation completes. That's for the stories, design booklets. And in here, maps. I've got star maps only. I don't see starships. These are just star maps. So this is just, well, and city maps. Looks like there's city maps in here too. But no deck plans for the starships. That's sad. That's not sad. I mean, I have managed to lose it. That's all. It would be entertaining and irritating if this was literally the only remaining map of the interior of the ship. But, it's all right. We'll figure it out. Yeah, this is definitely a different map than what we just pulled up on the screen here. The reason I'm doing that, though, is because it is time for us to set the radio room up like the radio room is set up. I mean, it's great to just throw a whole bunch of consoles in there and say, yay! But one of the things I want to do with this is make sure that I'm accurate about everything. So we're going to have to set up a radio room in some way that's the right size. So we need to make sure it's set to the deck plan so that when you walk into the radio room, it looks like the radio room. And in fact, what I will probably do is just take that entire front nose piece and make it one ground piece, and then just build the radio room and then build the pilot house in the front. And the right side of that is the in-space navigation room. So that, or the chart room, as the case may be. So you can look at and decide what you're doing about in-space navigation. Because all of these things are in-space operable, screens and things like that are in-space operable, they don't have they don't have holograms. So they're going to be different than the holographic controls, which we'll see elsewhere, because the holograms only can come up when they're out of in space. So there's that. All right. So it is now 11 a.m. The show is over for the day. I'm going to go on ahead and head on out and go walk with my buddy and walk around the lake, or walk around the park, I guess. Walk around the park. And then I will see you all tomorrow. And remember to keep your eyes on the stars. Thanks for joining me, Brent. Keep your eyes on the stars. Bye. Computer, good night.